Imagine surviving the most famous shipwreck in history. Most people would spend the rest of their lives avoiding boats, but not Violet Jessop. She got back on one, and then another disaster happened, and then another one. I mean, at some point you would think the ocean was trying to send her a message. Violet Jessop didn't seem interested in listening, because somehow the woman who survived the Titanic also survived its sister ship and another sinking before that, which raises a very important question. How many times can one person cheat death? Now, Violet Jessop was born in Argentina in 1887. As a child, she became seriously ill. Doctors weren't optimistic. Some believed she wouldn't survive, but she did. And that would become a recurring theme in her life. As a young woman, Violet found work as a stewardess on passenger ships. Her job wasn't glamorous. She cleaned cabins, helped passengers, worked long hours, but she loved life at sea. Eventually, she joined a company called White Star Line. At the time, it operated some of the largest and most luxurious ships on Earth, including one you may have heard of, the Titanic. But before the Titanic disaster, there was another close call. In 1911, Violet was working aboard the RMS Olympic. The Olympic was one of the largest ships in the world, until it collided with a British warship. The impact caused massive damage. Fortunately, the ship didn't sink. Guess what? Violet survived. Again. Most people would call that enough excitement for one lifetime. But not Violet. She wasn't most people. A year later, she accepted a position aboard a brand new ship. A ship advertised as the pinnacle of luxury and engineering, the RMS Titanic. On April 14, 1912, Titanic struck an iceberg. You know what happened next. The ship began to die, slowly and all at once. Passengers scrambled. Crew members rushed to launch lifeboats. Panic spread across the freezing Atlantic night. More than 1,500 people would lose their lives. Violet Jessop wasn't one of them. She was ordered into a lifeboat. As she climbed in, according to her later account, an officer handed her a baby. No explanation, just a baby. For hours she sat in the freezing darkness holding a child she had never seen before. But eventually the survivors were rescued. A woman was rushed forward, grabbed the baby from Violet's arms, and walked away without saying a word. The mystery was never fully explained. Now, most people would have retired from the sea right then, but not Violet, because apparently surviving the Titanic wasn't enough. A few years later, during World War I, Violet worked as a nurse aboard the HMHS Britannic. The Britannic was the Titanic's sister ship. What could possibly go wrong? Only everything. In 1916, an explosion rocked the vessel. The ship began sinking fast. This time, Violet didn't have hours. She had minutes. People rushed towards lifeboats. Chaos erupted. Giant ships started disappearing beneath the water. Violet jumped right into the freezing sea. As the ship sank, its massive propellers were still turning. They sucked nearby lifeboats towards it. Some people were killed instantly. Violet later said she was pulled underwater and struck her head. Yet somehow she survived again. Let's just review for a moment. Seriously, let's review it. She survived the collision aboard the Olympic. She survived the sinking of the Titanic. She survived the sinking of the Britannic. 3 major maritime disasters versus one woman. And here's the strangest part. After all that, she kept working on the ships for decades, as if nearly being killed by the ocean multiple times was just a minor inconvenience. Violet eventually lived into her 80s, not because she avoided danger, not because she played it safe, but despite finding herself in situations that could have ended her story several times over. Today, she's remembered as one of the most extraordinary survivors in history, not because she escaped death once, but because she escaped it again and again and again. Because let's face it, surviving the Titanic is incredible. Surviving 3 separate maritime disasters? That sounds less like luck and more like the ocean filing repeated complaints.